guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 307 of the T-800 Guardian from Terminator Genisys. Good old Arnold Schwarzenegger comes to us again as the Terminator, easily one of his most iconic roles. For the package here, you can see a really cool image of Arnold. Now, there are some problems that I do have with this image and how it relates to the actual figure. As you can see, he's got gray hair and a very battle damaged face. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times Hot Toys will use, production stills and actual pictures from the movie to put on their packaging, and that's what they did here. Other times they'll use, product shots. But what that creates is a bit of a difference in what you actually get in terms of the toy and with what they kind of advertise here. We'll get into all that here in just a little bit, but that's a really cool image. On the side here, you see that it says Terminator Genisys. Top has that as well. On the back of the package, you have the various warnings and things of that nature, and then in the background, kind of a wire image of something that looks like maybe like the face of the Terminator or something like that. And then it just is a bit of a shoebox package, so it slides up just like so. And then on the inside, you have the cast and the crew responsible for making it. And again, you have a very kind of Terminator-looking visual display. That looks like it's the time displacement chamber. And honestly, it looks pretty cool. When you slide this out, there you have, getting a little bit violent here, there you have the clamshell that holds the figure, his accessories, and everything basically included with this. Now, believe it or not, Genisys is actually one of my favorite Terminator movies. And by that, I would probably say it's my third favorite. But I know it's gotten a lot of flack. But really, the Terminator is an absolute iconic character, so regardless of the movie that we get him in, usually the toys don't let us down. So that being said, let's get this guy out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the T-800 Guardian opened up and out of his packaging. And as always, he does come with his instruction sheet, although there's really not much that it goes into. I mean, it shows how to hold his gun, it shows how to assemble the stand, where the batteries go for the stand. It tells you not to touch the outfit with sharp objects, how to switch the head, and then the sunglasses. And one thing that I find interesting about the sunglasses is they only show them going on the undamaged head, and that does seem like it's the way that it's meant to be. I can't really get those sunglasses to fit on the damaged head sculpt at all. So that's kind of disappointing that you can't use the sunglasses for both head sculpts, but taking a look at the rest of his accessories, you can see that he doesn't come with a heck of a lot. Now, in addition to two relaxed hands that I currently have on him, he also does come with a both right and left fisted hand, which isn't anything that we haven't seen before. I would almost venture to guess because of the body that we have is a reused body. I would imagine that the hands are reused from previous Terminator figures as well. And then you get a right and left trigger hand. Now, one thing that I will say is that the right hand looks like it's a little bit different than the left. I don't think it's an exact mirror image. As you can see, the finger kind of looks like it sticks out a little bit further from the side than his left one does, so it does look a little bit different, but it is very much similar in terms of just the overall shape. He does come with 2 extra wrist pegs in case you break them, and then he does come with some extra buttons that would attach to his jacket that, in case any of those pop out, you can just dab a little bit of glue on these and pop them back on the jacket. He does come with a shotgun that we saw in the kind of the big reveal scene where we noticed that, whoa, there's another Terminator in 1984. Real nice detail that's on here. You got some nice paint variation that kind of goes through. Very simple though. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles or anything. You can see that it does have some nice silver right in here, and then it is spring loaded at the little whatever that section is. It's a decent look, and I mean, we all know that Arnie loves his shotguns. He also does come with his sunglasses. As you can see, the arms of them kind of stop a little bit short of going all the way down. What this actually does is it kind of fits into the side of his hair, where it kind of looks like hair kind of comes over. I'll show that here on the clean head sculpt, but you do got those sunglasses, and then you also do get a battle damaged face, and we're going to go into much greater detail here, but this looks terrific. Everybody keeps talking about how this is probably the best looking Arnold sculpt that we've ever gotten. I don't know if that's necessarily accurate. It is the most recent kind of sculpt for Arnold that we've got. I mean, when you think about it, all the other previous Terminator figures have gone back. I mean, this is how he looks currently in 2016. All the other ones are recreating how he looked 25, 30 years ago. So it's, in my opinion, just something that we see on a more everyday basis with this head because it's how he looks right now. I think all the other ones are still really accurate, just of different times in his life. And then he does come with this display stand, which this is actually really nice. Now, one thing that's interesting is this is basically a DX stand. Now, the DX is a line that Hot Toys really has seemed to abandon recently. That would come with a lot of extra accessories. In a lot of cases, you would get two head sculpts like you do right here, and then you would get stands like this, which are bigger than the standard kind of oval, and then it's a diorama kind of base. You got the Terminator Genisys T-800 there, and then you come around to the bottom. It takes 3 AAA batteries, and then you got the little switch here in the back. You flip the switch, and these little bits here actually light up. They can actually be rotated a little bit. There's not a lot of range of motion, but you can kind of position those to get them shining up on the actual figure, which does look cool. I mean, you can have it, you know, like that, where there's some lights on there. I do wish that a lot of these stands actually came with some kind of AC adapter sort of connectivity. I mean, it's nice to have batteries and everything, but I mean, I would like to leave that lit up all the time. I think that that is a cool, just in general look, and it gives it a very dramatic kind of appeal. But you can't leave the lights on all the time because the batteries are going to die. So nice, you know, diorama stand. You got the nice metal-ish sort of looking texture and paint on there. Again, I do wish that if they're going to include these larger display bases, they would include just the standard oval ones. Mostly because I've basically run out of space for a lot of these Hot Toy figures, and that takes up a lot of real estate. So the smaller oval bases are what I tend to use, and these ones basically go in storage, so I have to buy extra ones of those little oval display stands. But for his accessories, you can see you don't get a heck of a lot. The biggest selling point would be this extra face sculpt that really does look terrific. Now, coming to the figure himself, this guy absolutely looks terrific. The problem that I do have, and honestly, it's not too much of a problem because, I mean, I knew this is what he was going to look like. But bringing in the box again, this is where I don't like when they use images that are kind of taken from the film. As you can see, he's got gray hair in this. Now, like I said, I knew that that's the look that he was going to have. But I just feel that when you're going to put it in a package like this, it kind of misrepresents what's actually in the figure. And if you're just walking through a store and you see this without having any kind of knowledge about how the actual figure looks, you're probably going to think it's going to look like that guy. And that's something that I really don't like very much. And while I like the look of this, honestly, I really hope that at some point in time we get a look like that. I don't know why, I just like that older kind of look for him. Now, this is how he looked in 1984. Now, some people would be like, well, why does he look different than the other Terminator in 1984? Well, you have to remember that this is the version that actually went back in time. We don't know how he got back in time or who sent him, but this is the version that first appeared when Sarah Connor was a little kid. I think it was in like 1973. So this version of the T-800 has already been kind of in this continuity for 11 years. So that's why and that's how they explain him looking older. And I think it actually works out pretty good. Figure-wise, though, I really do like it. The body is basically the exact same from everything that I can tell with the other Arnold figures that we've gotten before. You do have the new head sculpt. You also have this new jacket that, you know, you can recreate that look when he first walked in as "I've been expecting you." That's my bad Terminator thing. You do see that here on the side. I do have some loose strings kind of coming out here. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. That kind of bothers me because that can get hung up on something and snag. So that's a little bit unfortunate. But we're going to do some comparisons real quick. And this is the kind of fun part for me because honestly, it's cool seeing, you know, the Terminator progress. Now for a size comparison, you can see that he's a little over 12 inches tall, about 12.5 inches. Here he is next to his, I'm not exactly sure which version this is, but technically speaking, this is the Terminator 1 version. But again, looking at the face sculpts here, I mean, both really do look like Arnold. Obviously, though, this is how he looked in 1984. So there is a big difference, and you can see a lot more wrinkles. I mean, you come down here to the side, you can even see like some jowl kind of stuff going down here underneath his chin. It's just age has taken over, and I mean, I do think that this is a better head sculpt, but only because that's how his face looks now. If you look at pictures of how Arnold looked back in 1984, that nails it still. But this is a great progression. But one thing you're seeing is this figure actually is a little bit shorter than this guy. And here he is next to how he looked in Terminator 2, which took place in 1997. So again, a little bit older, but again, face sculpt wise, this guy still looks the way that he did back in 97. It still is a great representation, and using a little less battle damage of a mask, I mean, you can see that, I mean, the similarities are still there. You're just looking at something that is now 20 years earlier. So both of these, I think, do a great job of capturing his look in the particular time period that Arnold exists. One thing that I will definitely say is that a lot of those other Terminator figures came with a lot more in terms of accessories than this guy did. Maybe we'll get a more accessorized version if we get an older version of Pops. But like I said, this still does a great job of recreating that whole, you know, I've been expecting you kind of scene. And then during the battle is when this face damage took place. And coming into, just kind of take a closer look at that, you can see some great detail, and I love how his eyes are squinted. You got some scratches here on this side, but then you got a great amount of detail here showing the endoskeleton underneath him. I mean, that looks great. And like I was saying, for some reason, now I actually looked at pictures, and there are some that show this on here, but I can't get it. I mean, you just bring this in, and it's supposed to kind of tuck in underneath that hair. It's not easy to do, but you can't get it. It stays on there fairly decently, but it just doesn't feel like it's fitting in there properly. Now, with the other head sculpt, it actually feels like it fits in a little bit easier and doesn't seem like it's going to pop out. So again, you kind of wedge that in there, you get along the other side, kind of wedge that in. It just kind of fits in along the side of his hair a little bit better. But that is, again, really cool look for the guy. Now, he didn't wear his sunglasses in this particular kind of scene. It was too dark out. But I mean, that really does look terrific. And then to swap the head, it's on a ball joint. You just pull it off just like so. Don't pull the whole thing out. That's what I almost did it look like. Then you take this guy, you take that, pop that back in, and now you have that kind of battle damage look, which looks great. There's no more battle damage anywhere else on him, which is kind of unfortunate, but the overall suit still looks really very, very nice. Articulation wise, you do have a lower neck joint. This whole section up here is a little bit softer over rubber, so you can kind of bend that down a little bit, but you can see you get a far range of motion with that actual neck joint. It can move side to side, left, right, up about that far. So a solid range of motion there. The body type is the exact same as the other Terminators. One thing that I will say be careful of, as you can kind of see, the shirt right here kind of gets pinched underneath the upper diaphragm joint, and it creates this kind of crease right here, which kind of is ugly. It constantly makes it look like his boobs are just kind of hanging out there. Old man boobs. Guess you could do that, but he rotates at the shoulder, moves in and out. He does have a bit of an armpit joint, rotates at the upper part of the bicep. He's got two joints here at the elbow. You just gotta move the jacket around to kind of facilitate some of that range of motion. The wrists move forward and back. Now, one thing that I'll say is you can kind of pull it out, and this is what I do to get him to hold his gun in a cool looking pose. You pull it out a little bit, and then you take the actual wrist and the hand, and kind of put it on top of the forearm section so you can get it bent like that. And I'll show that off here in a little bit, but then you can actually have his gun kind of on his shoulder just like on the package. You do have that upper diaphragm joint that is a bit of a ball joint, so you get a nice range of motion there. Tilts side to side. It can rotate a little bit. Then he does have the waist articulation. I've kind of jacked up his pants and moving those all the way around, but you can kind of see that he's got that little lower hip joint right there, and waist joint. The hips move forward and back, they move in and out. The pants are a nice cloth cargo material. That jacket actually, while it's not leather, does really nicely replicate it, and you can see a really cool, I don't even know what it is, just an M logo right there. I have no idea what the logo is supposed to be for. Got some nice zippers here in the back. Just overall good tailoring on this jacket. Definitely has a leather feel without actually being leather. So rotates at the upper part of the thigh. He's got two joints here at the knee. The ankles move all the way around. You got a nice, lift that up, you got a nice boot right here, but you also have some flex in the upper section. You can see that the boot kind of flares out here away from the actual leg, so it can kind of allow for pivot forward and back and some tilt side to side and such. So getting that back on there. So lots of articulation in the guy. It's all the articulation that you would expect in this body type. It is the, like I said, the Arnold, I guess, body type, the more muscular kind of body. I'm just fidgeting here with these pants. Get that over the boot. Come on, there we go, something like that. And come on down. So overall, great looking figure. A little bit light on the accessories, and that is something that is unfortunate. But in this particular scene, I don't know what else you really could have given him. I mean, he comes with his shotgun already. It wasn't until, the 2016 or 17 version of him, when he had the gray hair, where he would probably have more things to come with, like the magnetic hand thing, maybe some extra guns and stuff like that. So, like I said, hopefully they do release that. We don't know. As far as we know for the Genisys line, this is confirmed, obviously, and then we are getting a endoskeleton, which is another figure that I'm really looking forward to. And like I said, kind of angling his wrists like that, you can kind of recreate that look where he's got his gun resting on his shoulder, which I think looks really cool. All in all though, I'm really very happy with this figure. In terms of the likeness, I think it looks fantastic. The only real downfall that I see with this figure is the lack of accessories, but it is kind of made up by the fact that you get a extra head sculpt, which a lot of times, figures that cost more don't really come with. So it's nice to see that, but it does make me kind of wonder what the future for things like the DX line are. Because things like extra head sculpts and those diorama bases are usually what they would include for DX figures. But if they're just coming now with guys like this, like I said, I don't know what the future for the DX line holds. Now, whether you like the movie Genisys or not, as I said, I actually do. I think the Terminator character is very iconic. And really, no matter what movie he comes out in, Arnold really does nail that character. It is a definitive role in his entire career. So getting a new figure from him, even from a movie like Genisys, which you may not like, still is actually really cool. And the figure still turned out very nicely. So based on that alone, I would absolutely recommend picking this guy up. So if you are interested in getting him, he is available right now at Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Sideshow where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of their Hot Toys 1/6 scale figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget to please like and comment, and be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you never miss a future review of mine. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.